Everybody, thank you so much for joining us today at RG Podcast. This is Isaiah Diesel, joined with a very special guest.
Thank you
You
so
want to
much.
introduce yourself?
Okay, my name is Soyeon and Jane.
So-
Last name is Jane. I was born in North Korea and later I came through China and arrived in South Korea. And
Okay,
right now I'm living in Canada.
Canada. Mr. Kaz, how are you doing tonight?
I'm doing okay. How are you guys doing?
All right. You had a bit of a kerfuffle today. What was going on with your live stream with the Flat Earth debate?
Oh man, YouTube kicked me out. They wanted a two-step verification as I was beginning the live stream, and I could not get that from the person who owns the actual channel. So I was stuck, unable to go live. And on top of that, the people that were in the debate had horrible connections. Their cell
Wow.
phones were not up to par, so we ended up scrapping the whole thing.
So I got a question for you, Kaz. Have you ever gotten a chance to talk to someone from North Korea?
No, never. I'm very excited
Okay.
about that.
Yeah, we're very excited to talk to you. So
I've never met anyone from North Korea at all, or even
South Korea?
I can't. No, I've met people from South Korea for sure. Yeah, but no, I've never. I don't think I know anybody from North Korea at all.
So
Even
here's
in
the real.
public parlance.
Here's another question for you, just out of curious. Any chance you're up to date with like K-pop or any of that K-dramas going on?
No, not at
No.
all.
Yeah, good for you. I was just actually in a movie this weekend with. Do you know Ha Jung-woo?
Yeah, I know how to move.
Yeah.
Like him so much.
He's one of the most famous actors in South Korea. He's like one of the top 3.
That's
And
it.
so yeah,
You mean
I
you
was.
were in a movie. What does that mean? You were in a movie. You're extra.
So I got to play an Olympic international committee member, and so basically we had to come out and take pictures and stuff, and then he was like walking in front of us and stuff. So that was pretty cool. Anyway, all right, so we're gonna get started here, and I'm wondering if you could tell me when exactly did you leave North Korea?
When in 1999,
Okay,
April 13th.
13th.
Yes.
Well, that's my birthday.
Oh, really?
Yeah, okay.
It is true?
Yeah,
Oh my
I'll show you my ID. Okay, what a coincidence. Okay, so here's what we're gonna do. We're just gonna go
How
back.
old were you? I'm
Me?
so sorry. I
Yeah,
was just wondering, how old were you when you left North Korea back in 1999?
24 years old.
24.
Okay, you were a girl.
So the thing is that in talking about North Korea and the refugee situation and the Kims, there's a lot of topics to discuss. I mean, we could probably talk for 5 or 6 hours right now. So in order to make her story more digestible, we're going to really focus on her time in North Korea. We might briefly touch on her exit, but for right now, we want to focus on the time before she left. So I do want to ask you a question. We'll start off real quick just with the icebreaker. Kaz, what is some of your earliest memories growing up, like as a kid? Can you tell me that?
My earliest memories growing up as a kid are, I guess, in the Kingdom Hall with my parents, reading the Bible, going through those Bible cards that they gave us, stuff like that.
About what age?
Oh, 5-ish. I always say 5. That's the number that always comes to
I
mind.
see. So whenever I was 5 years old, I was pretending to be Superman. You know
Really?
Superman?
Oh,
My dad used to.
Spider-Man?
No, Superman.
Okay.
My dad used to pick me up by like my stomach and fly me around the room when they do the dun 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 dun. And I remember I'd have my hands out. I felt like a king. It was an amazing
Wow.
feeling.
Yeah,
I still remember that till this day.
Today, children.
Yeah, especially the music. The music's so exciting. But I'm wondering if you could tell me some of your earliest memories in North Korea.
I have 2 sisters when I grow up. I think the really good memory I have when I grow up. Playing with the snow with my sisters, and every year we celebrate New Year, and
The Lunar New Year? You celebrate?
No, at that time there is no.
Oh no, I
just
think they celebrated for like Kim Jong Un.
Kim
Kim Il Sung's
Kim Il
birthday.
Sung and Kim Jong Il's
Right.
birthday. But in my generation, the biggest holiday is Kim Il Sung's birthday.
Right. Kim Il Sung was the first president or dictator of North Korea. So it gets, for those of you who don't know, it gets really, really cold in North Korea. Well, in Korea in general, but I would think it would get colder in North Korea because it's a little bit more north.
It's middle north. It's North Korea area. Our hometown is just middle of North area.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't think it's so cold. And then we also Hamhung City. It is second biggest city in North Korea, and then close to the coast, the ocean, right? So it's relatively warm, and yeah, in my teenage time, really good actually.
Yeah. So yeah, I do want to ask you a question about that because I was really shocked, Kaz, when we were preparing for this interview, and I was asking her about her growing up, and you said that it was happy for you because, like, growing up, you kind of compare yourself to everyone else around you, like naturally, everybody does that, and so like if you're all in the same condition, which is like what communism promotes, it's hard to tell if you have less or more than other people.
Yeah, even children time and later when I grow up, still there is no comparison, right? Another country, another community. So, and we also singing, we are happy.
Oh,
you know
right.
The song?
Yeah. 반갑습니다.
반갑습니다. And then you are, 우리는 행복해요. We are happy. The children's song, really rhythmic. And yeah, it seems like you are happy.
Yeah, I got an interesting story for you. When I went to North Korea, I mean, Kaz, this just try to imagine this situation going down like this, okay? Because there are so many things that happened that were totally bizarre. But so we arrived there, and then they have like a building, and then that song "반갑습니다." It's a song that they sing. It means "nice to meet you."
Nice.
No. Listen to this though. They had that song on loop for 1 hour. So we're there in the processing center, and they're just playing it over and over and over and over again. Then as soon as we get out, so we actually cross into North Korea, they send some troops marching by us. Like they're in formation, and one of the guys keeps like reaching down for his gun, and we're like just totally freaked out. This is so bizarre. Like I said, there's so many things that happen that I couldn't believe. But anyway, so they came marching around, and we're standing there, and one of these guys was just like staring me down. I mean, he was like, and I was like, oh man, I was scared. I was scared shitless, really. But the guys behind me told me, like, when I turned my head, he just started laughing. He was laughing. They were there to try to intimidate us. But okay, you got a follow-up question there, Kes?
Well, I wanted to know.
We'll focus right now with the childhood, then we'll start to get old.
Sorry, I'm just a little lost about
that story. It's a crazy story, right?
Yeah, I wanted to know when you were a kid, was there any did you witness any kind of state violence? Did you see any kind of anybody getting arrested or beaten or killed or anything like that ever?
Actually, in my school life, it is beaten. Teacher beaten children is quite normal.
Yeah,
we think because they are, yeah.
That was normal in South Korea, though. Just for reference, teachers. It would happen here as well.
Yeah. Oh, really? In North Korea, really, there is in our classmates and 20 or 30 members, and then maybe 10 or 5 people really low score, low grade, and then wherever they don't bring homework or something else, just is it really normal? The teacher beating them and then punishment to go out classroom. That is normal, but I know what you want to in a kind of like a
like violence, like either concentration camps or
concentration camps. I didn't realize until 15 years old. And after that, after the year, because my really close friend, family, they got arrested.
Really?
It is. And then because the children, you are really good friend. And then later, their father got arrested and then go to prison camp. And then we witnessed their life so miserable.
Okay, so did your friend also get arrested? Like, did she just disappear?
Yeah, no. Children and family, the mother and children stay our village, but father got arrested.
Father got arrested. Do you know what he got arrested for?
Because the spy, there is this suspicion spy. Like there's some information, military information, sell to Japan. That's why got arrested. But later, because I met him as my father's friend, he is a really, really good person.
Wow.
Something complicated eventually, but he didn't return. And the children, 3 children, they really miserable life.
I bet.
We can see they every day hungry. They all, if so hungry, they all face like bigger. Do you know?
Oh, they get like swollen?
Yeah, sure.
Right.
Like this. So we can see the life so bad.
Yeah. So, okay, so I do want to interject in here and say something because I interviewed some North Korean defectors. I think I sent you that video, but they told me situations where they would get everybody in the village and then they would have like public executions. So did you ever see anything like that? Because I think that's more what he's...
That is start in late 1999, 90s, and start the public execution. But actually, for me, myself, I didn't witness by myself. But many my friends, even my mom, so many times go to their in public execution place, and then so they witness them.
So you never saw any?
Yeah, I don't know why, but never have a chance to saw them.
I think that would be something that would be... I mean, you're very fortunate.
Unusual, yeah.
Unusual, but you're very...
Yeah, I think so.
Like you were very spared for that. It's very...
Yeah.
Because that I can imagine would be something that would stay in your mind like long afterwards. And actually, this is a question I've been wanting to ask you for a while. Like, when I went to North Korea, I came back to South Korea. And there were times, Kaz, I'll tell you this, there were times I would wake up in the middle of the night totally sweating, like totally soaked in sweat, like fearing that I was back in North Korea. So I'm wondering, like, do you have like many flashbacks, like being in North Korea, or do you ever have like any nightmares about that? Now that you're out.
Right now? No.
Yeah.
Nowadays?
Yeah.
I nightmare in maybe 2-3 years ago. Still, I had nightmare. Now, seems like no more. I don't. But yeah, still continue nightmare in a couple of years ago.
So you've been out about 30 years now?
I think so.
Okay, good. All right, Cass.
So, when you were, do you used to? Well, first of all, is there anything that you definitely do not want to talk about? Is there anything that I should not ask you about?
It is okay. You can ask anything. Yeah.
Okay. Do you still
By the
have
way,
family?
but so much courage for you to be here today. So thank you for that. Yeah, sorry.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. Yeah, good call. Yeah, thank you for talking about your experiences. Do you still have family in North Korea?
Yeah, I have 2 sisters.
Okay. Are you able to have contact with them at all? Is that totally cut off from you now?
Yeah, I disconnected with them almost 8 years ago, and I heard something they watched by guard, security guard, because they knew their family, like me and my mom, already escaped there, and they watched by security guard, and they're not easy to access. I sent broker so many times, but they're not easy to access them.
Yeah, you're gonna have to explain what a broker is, because I don't think the average person would.
No.
If you say broker means, what do you? Broker means like for real estate.
Okay, I can say that I hire somebody, like usually the people is ethnic Korean who is living in China, so they easily to contact the North Korea, right? And then I hire them and send them to my sister place. They also hire somebody and then send people, right? Kind of, that kind of system. And but eventually
They refused.
Yeah,
That's interesting. That's really interesting, and that might have to do with some of the brain. Do you think that has anything to do with the brainwashing? Like they get so brainwashed that they don't.
My sister.
Do you think it's related?
It is kind of complicated. I don't know, but it's half and half. Yeah, they kind of brainwash it and then not believe even I'm the younger sister, but they still kind of not believe what I'm saying, or they scary. They scary. They so fear to cross the border, or talking by phone and overheard by guard in state. So they're not easy to tell us the truth.
Any chance, Kaz, you've seen Squid Game?
Yeah, I've seen
Yeah.
it.
So actually, one of my friends, I think, did I tell you this? He was one of the VIPs.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. So he got me. He does some acting here, and he got me he got me some acting jobs. That's how I got this that job I was telling you about. But anyway, do you remember the woman is she's North Korean, and when she throws that coffee on that guy's face, because like he took her money
Yes.
to get her family to cross, and then he just didn't deliver. So she was like, and in the story, exactly. That's exactly what I was going to compare. Because that happens in America, coming from Mexico to America, and so sometimes they take their money, and sometimes they will just leave them. Like it happened recently. There were like 40 or 50 people, maybe 30 or 40 people. They found them in a truck, and they were dead because they didn't have like ventilation. And so the people who want to leave are in very dangerous situations, right?
Right. There is no even I send somebody to like broker. There is no guarantee they deliver my news, to sister about my news to my sister. So something happened, and then eventually I disconnected with my sisters.
So
when you
sorry,
go ahead.
No, good.
I was going to ask you, when you finally decided to leave North Korea, was that a decision based on a single event, or was it just a slow build up? Was it many things that build up over time that finally broke the camel's back, so to speak?
When I leave in the time 1999, I didn't thinking about just escape, because actually the purpose to leave the country to looking for food, not escape. No, at that time. Since middle 1990s and early 2000, there is a huge famine, great famine in North Korea, right? Actually, so many people die. And I told you my teenager time is relatively okay. It's kind of happy time, but it's utterly so many people laid out on the street and then die or hungry. Even so many infectious disease like cholera, high typhus, so many unknown. We never heard before even the name. So disease attacked us.
Yeah. Because when you have malnutrition, it makes it a lot easier to get other diseases, right?
It is.
There's that, and I have heard stories where people had to eat some grass, even the bark off of trees, just so that they have something in their stomach. So, so what kind of do you remember catching like any bugs, or like what would you do to kind of like
grasshopper? But grasshopper is a high protein food.
Are they delicious? I've heard that they're actually pretty good. They're crunchy.
Times, but anyway, but actually, somebody really like a grasshopper. Actually, that is high, really luxury food in North Korea. Anyway, so many people die on the street. I really vividly remember in 1997, it's something like on whole street is full of body. And the smell so like it can't breathe.
The smell.
And then even I got the disease, the cholera, and I was sent in hospital. And then I can hear people screaming, and the next door they like dying, flying. And then even we just we have to separate other normal the patients, right? And then that building, just in front of our room, there is store.
Store?
Warehouse.
Kind of storage. Okay.
Yeah, kind of warehouse. And then we just pile the body because there is no enough people, truck to deliver it to body to other place. So they file the body once a week, and then one truck come, they filing all body. There is no like funeral.
Oh, so you can't have a proper like burial or anything like that. Wow, no. That's horrible.
So many unknown body, and then just deliver it to just near the hill. And then whole big hill, just near hill, and then they dig big hole, and then they just dump the body.
Jesus.
Just like this. I actually really witnessed that whole situation, and eventually, our family, it is no choice. We can't do anything, selling anything, only for food. We are living only for food, actually.
Right. I was in Haiti, and after the earthquake, and just for the record, like there's a lot of similarities between like Haiti and North Korea, because I interviewed the people.
In the earthquake?
Yeah, Haiti.
Yeah.
So when I was in Haiti, I was in the capital of Port-au-Prince, and I was at a bank. Okay, so this bank was totally rubble.
Okay.
Like it had completely collapsed down because the buildings in Haiti were like really poorly constructed. So like if that earthquake happened in America, it wouldn't have been very, very, very brutal. But because the buildings were so weak, they fell down. Anyway, I was standing in the bank, and the guy who I'm with says, where you're standing right now, there's dead bodies like underneath you. And they're like, because like probably like 75% of the city was destroyed, maybe more, but they didn't have time or the resources to remove the rubble. And so that really scared me. It really freaked me out to know that there were dead bodies underneath there. But they described to me when they were driving that you would see just like bodies, like just bloody bodies laid out in the road. And they had to put people in kind of like a storage, like we were talking about, because there's too many dead people to try to find everyone out. And so anyway, I do want to ask you another question. related to the Kims, Kim Jong-un. Well, I guess, no, it was still Kim Il-sung when he left.
Il-sung,
Okay, so his father was still in power. And so, like daily, do you have to like sing songs about Kim Il-sung, like at school, or what do they tell you daily? Like he is he like something like a god or?
Oh, no, not daily, not every day.
Not every day?
But actually, every week we have to criticize meeting, like self each other. We are just meeting our one class, and then all gathering together. We just each other criticize.
Criticize other people or criticize you?
Other people, so each other. That means review our life.
Okay.
And then according to in Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il's world, Kim Jong-il, Kim Il-sung say blah blah something. So we have to follow what he says, right? That one is Kim Il-sung, Kim Jong-il's world. And the other day, Kim Il-sung's birthday. So we have to go to big statue. Do you know?
Stadium
and statue.
And statue.
And then have to bow.
Yeah.
That is really important.
Yeah.
The events we have to do, must do.
Like just to give you an idea of this statue she's referring to, if it's the same one, let's say that is like Kim Il-sung.
Kim Il-sung and Kim Jong-il.
Right. You're like the size of his foot. Okay. So they have his shoe out. Let's say this is a shoe. And you're like that size. So that's how gigantic. I mean, it is huge, right? It is massive. Actually, I'll tell you a weird story from North Korea real quick. But so I was in North Korea, and this is when Kim Jong-il was in power. So he did not die yet.
What year?
In like 07. So I think he died in 08 or 09. One of those two. Maybe 08.
No, who?
Kim Jong-il.
Kim Jong-il, 2012. He
12?
died in 2012.
Okay. So some years later. Anyway, so I'm there, and they have this really big mural of him, like giant. It's just this giant painting, and he's standing there like this, and so because there's propaganda everywhere there. I posed like him, and the guy was taking my picture, and as he's taking my picture, I'm looking up. And I see some security guards just running at me. And I'm like, oh, crap, right? Because I guess you're not supposed to pose like them. They have like this idea. They're just way up here, so you can't like imitate them. So yeah, he was running these security guard and like a military soldier. This is so crazy. Just when you go to places, they set up like a circle where you cannot walk out of.
Right.
And with people. So it's a really bizarre situation, like nothing like you've ever seen before in your life, man. I can guarantee that, Kaz. But anyway, so they came through and they deleted all those pictures. So
so you really wrong because whenever you go in front of his picture, you have to lay the bow and really respect have to watching them, and then really I can say adorable kinds of the situation. You have to watching them. So if you just take a picture, whatever you want, that is forbidden. That is bad.
But it's illegal to take a picture of it?
No. You can take a picture. Just like what I did was I was posing like him. So just like, yeah, no, it's okay. Ask questions because none of this will, if you haven't seen it, this will not make sense to you because you're used to thinking rationally and logically. And then you go there and you're like, none of this makes sense. Like I cannot, it's just so illogical. So crazy. It's like, so many times I was there, I was like, I feel like I'm in a dream because I've never seen a situation like even close to this. Right. It's so like unreal. Anyway, but did you have like they wanted you to believe that he's kind of like a god or up there, because I think they don't believe in like God like. Can you elaborate on that?
Yeah, of course. Even when Kim Il Sung died, he dies in 1994. It seems like this whole world is collapsed. Oh my God! In Kim Il Sung could die. He is like could die. He seems like he's not human for me actually. Before we live, he never die. He is not like human. He is actually in outside says is God, like a God actually in North Korea. It was huge shock. Oh, Kim Il Sung eventually could die, and then something kind of realities come out.
Right, a reality. They're just human.
Yeah,
they're just human
like this.
Wow, that's fat. I would have never thought about that.
So I think many people kind of realization comes they realize something.
Wow.
Oh, Kim Il Sung died. Kim family
He's
also
just a person.
human. It's like this.
That's what I was going to ask is how many people actually believe that propaganda?
I can say 90%.
90%. So there's 10% that just like they see.
Yeah, 10% probably maybe they get the outside the news, something like.
Oh, I'm sorry. Continue. I don't want to interrupt you.
Yeah, I just like only 10% would be they can communicate with outside. They can get some news. They knew about the family reality.
Right.
Then, but most people believe Kim Il Sung is God.
Yeah. See. Hold on, guys. Let me get in here. I'm going to take myself off the screen so you can have about 10 or 15 minutes with her alone. But I do want to say this last thing that. So I've done a lot of research on this situation afterwards. I was shocked to see it first because it was, I'll just give you an idea how little American people know. Like if I tell people that I live in South Korea, you know the first question they ask me in America? What? North or South Korea?
Oh,
like seriously, like and there was this woman by our house. Her name was Sue, and she had like a convenience store, a Pyeongchang, and I remember I said, "Hey," one day, like, "Where are you from?" And she's like, "Korea." And I asked her, I'm like, "North or South Korea?" And she's like, "Oh," she's like, "North." Like that's such a stupid question, like because you would never. Actually, it wouldn't be so stupid with you because it would actually be true. But anyway, most people just know almost nothing. And so the reality is, though, Kaz, like the guys at the top, the people in the government, they have access to everything you and I have access to. They have access to internet, to movies. There's no like illusion that Kim Jong-un was like born, and like a double star appeared in a rainbow. They have all this mythology. They know 100% that that's not true. You know what I mean? They know it's not true.
Only 1% of people? Probably.
The top. I'm talking about the top people. Because they made all those lies. They're the ones who made the lies. So yeah, I do want to give you a minute, Kaz. So if Kaz is gonna take over for now. So go.
Okay. So you've been gone from North Korea for quite a while now, and you've gotten a chance to experience other cultures, other governments, more specifically.
Right.
And how I'm not sure exactly what other governments you've lived under, and I'm not going to ask you to name them, but how do they compare?
You mean
to other governments that you've lived under?
You lived in Canada.
Oh, you mean in South Korea?
And Canada.
In China and Canada?
Yeah. Do any of them rise to the level of debauchery? You might say.
I can't compare even, South Korea and Canada.
China.
Even China. Even when I just arrived, I stand in Chinese soil. It's like heaven, actually, China.
Yeah. Okay.
I tell a short story. When I just crossed the border, was 1999. It's first in the day, And we just walking whole night because we illegally crossed the border. And we arrive a strange place and we knock the door. Because, they a little bit small village, but we knocked the door couple of place, but they not open the door. And seems like they are only speaking Chinese. I can speak Chinese at the time. And even sold the place, we knocked the door, somebody opened the door. He can speak Korean. He is ethnic Korean. In China, nearby the area in the border between China and North Korea, they ethnic Korean, so many ethnic Korean living there. They can speak Korean, right? And then he opened the door. We are all 4 people, my mom and me, another 2 guys, our the friend. So you can come in. He right away recognized we are from North Korea. And then he says, "Did you have breakfast?" And then we said, no. We didn't eat nothing at the time. And then he just make the meal for us. Actually, really shocked. In North Korea, the stranger never make meal for others. Stranger never ever. Because the rice is really precious food in North Korea. We normal we daily food is like, do you know corn?
Mm-hmm.
Corn. So we say is corn rice. That is our normal people daily food. And white rice is only just a couple of times you can eat. Rice. Rice.
Right.
Yeah, white rice is really precious food. Only Kim Il Sung's birthday, Kim Jong Il's birthday, maybe my father's birthday, we save the food for it that day, waiting for food. And maybe New Year. So they're really precious food. And then he just make a meal for us. And then he also opened refrigerator and then took the meat. I think there is a pork meat. And then he make cook for us.
Wow.
That is huge shock for me.
Must be
Because,
very moving for you.
It is. I almost crying because, so many people just die. Even there is no corn rice. Even though we didn't expect the white rice. Just even full enough corn rice, there is no complaint. And then we eat the food, and then there is so many leftover the food, right? Mm-hmm. The left food he throw feed his dog.
Yeah.
It is unbelievable thing for me. Wow, this is heaven. In China, this is heaven.
Right.
Yeah. Even later, I came to South Korea and eventually I came to live in Canada. I never ever forgotten the first thing that I seen in China.
So in the years since you've left North Korea, there's been a lot of demonstrations of the Kims. They want to flex their military might. They do nuclear tests or missile tests, I should say. Do you think that the other governments should do something about him?
Of course. Because, the military development, nuclear development, that's why people suffering hungry. That's why. Why the military for what? Nuclear for what? Because that one is only themselves, only for Kim family, not for people. So I think it must stop all international community must stop the nuclear weapon development.
And you've seen like countries like America intervene in many other places around the world since 1999. Do you have any feeling as to why America isn't willing to go into North Korea or other countries?
Oh, before 1999, I didn't know idea about that. But now, I think America is still a good country. Even there is not perfect, there is no perfect country, but still better than other country. And they must go to intervene and probably like when I give you a good example. When I just arrived South Korea, because there is something luxury building. It's not actually not moving for me because I was living before came to South Korea. I was living in Shanghai. Shanghai, so big city, luxury building is more fancy than South Korea and Seoul. But actually, I moved. We just arrived, get up, step off Incheon Airport in Seoul. I feeling, oh my, this is my country because everything is my mountain, stream, even soil. It's exactly same my hometown, and I feel, oh, this is my homeland actually. And then I thank God because He's even our country divided two country, but He saved the half of my country, right? I think this is because America in Korean War, so many soldiers came to Korea, South Korea, and our country and save for us.
Okay, so you're not. I'm sorry. Go ahead. I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Yeah, it is must be the America continue to
So you're not feeling some kind of animosity about us not doing more, the rest of the countries. You're not feeling like we should, be aggressive in getting him out of office.
Another country, which country? You mean?
Well, yeah, that's a good question. Which country? America, I guess, is the one that everybody goes to. But I mean, it could be any of them. It could be South Korea. It could be China. It could be UK.
Probably he must be intervened in the Asian, the Pacific area. Probably it's necessary because the China, even because of China and North Korea continue to against the people's freedom, right? That's why I should be do that, America.
Do you think that there is some kind of resistance forming there in North Korea within the borders?
According to North Korean security system, it's really hard to kind of thing happen.
They would say that, though, wouldn't they?
It's almost impossible. It's not like normal country. You can demonstrate everywhere. It is no problem, right? But even North Korea, even say one word, like which is against the government, so right away got arrested and send the whole family, send the concentration camp. That kind of system, any resistance, any kinds of activity, impossible, even right now.
Right. As far as you know, has anything gotten any better since you left?
Right now?
Yeah. Are the conditions in North Korea any better now than when you left?
No, it's more worse. Even 2 or 5 years ago, it's still kind of say almost, I left the country almost 24 years ago, but I still can't believe still safe exactly. But right now it's under the Kim Jong-un, the dictatorship is more worse, and then people die kind of, and then it's more worse, and then he completely stopped to communicate outside. So there is no news come out.
It's very difficult.
Yes.
Do you think that could you I don't know. How do you feel about the our former president, America's former president, being so friendly with Kim Jong-un?
You mean Trump?
Donald Trump. Yeah.
Okay.
Did you see that? Did you notice that? Did that note? Did you look
Okay.
at that?
I don't know.
Matter to you at all?
I don't know, but actually, because Trump really smart guy, right? And then he knows what is value of freedom in democratic country, right? So he kind of used Kim Jong-un to open the country, open to the international community. If he, I don't know, but bad thing is he made because Kim Jong-un is a really good guy, and then Kim Jong-un wanted to go out. He is like a normal president in outside the world. He made this, right?
Mm-hmm.
You understand what I mean? So
yeah, he made the world like that.
He tried. Other previous president never did, right?
Mhm.
Never tried in person. He met in North Korean dictator in person, right? He did. That is a kind of unique thing.
Yeah.
But that means he did in all America did everything what they can do, right? He shows that he proved it, right? But it didn't successful, right?
Yeah. You know what? Let me get in here.
What they mean? Yeah, what it mean is there is only another way. There is a kind of peaceful negotiation is not working.
Right.
You admire the diplomatic attempt.
Yes. Yeah.
Right.
It shows us.
And you know what? I do want to say this. Thank you, by the way. Great questions, Kaz. But so when Barack Obama was, because you were talking about Obama, when she said the previous president, he had pledged his first term that he would meet at some point. It was Kim Jong-il at the time.
Right.
So he never followed through with the promise that he made. I mean, go figure. He didn't follow through. But even though Trump was unsuccessful, I have to say I give him so much props for at least being willing to try. You know what I mean? Because the reality is there's people like the guy in Syria. His name is Assad. That guy is crazy. Have you ever seen an interview with that guy?
No.
Yeah, I'm sure you would have a similar discussion with Kim Jong-un. Like, when you're looking into their eyes, like they're just not there because they are so delusional. I mean, I saw an interview with him where, yeah, it just absolute craziness. And so the reality is, though, is that there's just some people who you're not going to be able to discuss. Like Hitler is an example. You could talk to Adolf Hitler all day long and you could get him to sign whatever treaties you wanted to. But the reality is that he wouldn't have lived by a single thing he signed. And, Trump, I think, was very just unrealistic when he went there, because he's like, yeah, I'm going to solve, because I think Trump was he's a narcissist. Do you know this word narcissist?
Yeah, narcissist.
Yeah, because I'm sure that's exactly what Kim Jong-un is.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, he thought that he was just going to solve it, and he got him to sign some piece of paper, and it was really nothing. But I definitely give him props for at least trying to do that. I do want to get on to, let's ask for a few more questions here. We're coming up on the hour. But I I want to ask you this question. Try to think about this, okay? Have you ever seen the movie The Matrix?
Yeah, a little bit. Not that full movie. A little bit. Maybe.
Okay, but you understand they're in like a fake reality.
Yep.
And it's not real.
Yeah.
Kind of like North Korea. I mean, it's a similar thing with North Korea.
Yeah.
What they okay. So the reason why they create the Matrix is because they need to control the people's like they need to keep the people alive, but they need to control their minds.
Right, control minds.
So the thing is, though, the reason why they create this world is because they can't keep the people alive if they have something that is really, really fake. So they need to like trick their mind, right? Yeah. And so the question I want to ask you is like, did you feel like the government, like you were being controlled by the government? Like, did you feel the government was trying to control you, or did it feel real? Or did it feel fake? Yeah, when you were in North Korea.
No, never ever. No.
You all thought it was real?
Yeah, it is real. Everything is true. When I was in North Korea, now I changed.
Yeah, of course now, but
yeah. So most of people like this.
So, do you feel like because just tell me a little bit about the music and like the propaganda that you see, because I do want to say one thing is whenever I went to North Korea and I saw all the propaganda, I wrote about this in my second book that I said I understand how Nazi Germany turned into Nazi Germany because with all that propaganda, how Hitler was controlling people's minds, I understood how you could totally change people's thinking, to the way you want it. So can you tell me some about the propaganda or songs or maybe games you played, some of the anti-Americanism or anti-capitalism?
The famous 5 musical, there is 5 musical and then 6 play. They called in the really revolutionary theme about the propaganda. It's called Blood Sea, Flower Girl.
Flower Girl.
Yeah, it kind of things. There is main masterpiece Kim Jong-il made for the brainwashed people. So it is really well made. It's, I asked later, and then when I was in Canada, and they said some people said, "Oh, really well made in musical and play," but but because continue when we turn on TV. The kind of play and musical continue come out.
Right.
Really boring.
I bet, because I heard there's only like one TV channel and it is just Kim Jong-un all day. And then they have some kind of speaker in your house and it just plays all day Kim Jong-un like stuff. And you cannot turn it off. You can just turn it down.
Can turn down and can turn off. Why not?
All it?
Yeah,
really?
Yeah, of course, turn off can, but there is only 1980. It's really long time ago.
Right.
Now can turn off. Why not?
Right now you can turn it off.
Yeah.
But you don't know though. You don't know if you can or not right now.
I know.
You okay?
Of
you
course,
do. Okay.
I know.
So maybe they've changed that to try to like get.
So they kind of play really boring. But for me, actually, personally, moving. There is a Star of Joseon. There is about the movie film about the Kim Il Sung's early activity. Really great, and they so many kinds of the describe about the Japanese colonial time.
Yeah.
You know it?
Yeah.
So not only the movie, not only Kim Il Sung's activity, also another, independent activities they join, and then they fighting with the Japanese imperial. Yeah. It is funny and good story. So I was so that And at that time, Kim Il Sung's always destroy the Japanese in soldier, Japanese army, defeat the Japanese army. That is make Kim Il Sung's as a hero in North Korea.
And speaking of which, I do want to say this. We agree North Korea is horrible, like 100% the worst country around right now. But if we are objective, like what they've done is something that no communist country has ever done before. So you gotta compliment them and their efficiency. I don't know, compliment, that's a bad word, but we have to recognize what they're doing is real, like they're accomplishing the goals that they want to accomplish, because no other communist government has ever had like a dynasty. It's never happened before. And now they're in their third
generation.
Yeah, they're in the third generation, and it doesn't seem like it's going to end anytime soon. So obviously the goals that they're trying to do with the music, with the propaganda, it's like it's working. It's horrible and it needs to end. But people like Donald Trump or other Americans tend to think like, oh, Kim Jong-un is just really crazy guy, and he's really crazy. People cannot accomplish something like that, you know? So they know what they're doing. It's evil. It's horrible, but they're efficient at doing it. And that's one thing I noticed when I went there. I'm like, I totally see how these guys have had control for 70 years, because everywhere you go, it's everywhere, you know? It's hard for us to even imagine that as Americans. So you want to say anything about that?
Oh, yeah. When I was in North Korea, it's kind of everything is normal. Kim Jong-il care of us. Kim family care of us. It's really normal. We crying for his sacrifices. But when I go outside, everything is fake. Everything is like we didn't know the reality. I was so angry. Now in this point, I go back, look for back my life and North Korean people's life. I thinking kind of unbelievable.
Right.
Really is in outside
unbelievable.
For me, even right now, I change a lot.
I know.
Thinking really deeply. There is only one answer because of evil just grabs North Korea. That is I found out the answer by myself. Otherwise, I can't explain how can the kinds of, the country that exists until right now. No internet, no international phone, everything people. Recently, even Kim Jong-un seems like a corona.
You got corona?
Yeah, his sister mentioned about it because he got so sick, and then people still cry when they heard he's sick.
Right.
I was so still people crying about his sick. About this. Still something really wrong. Well, how can we explain about this situation? Because just evil, just grab the country.
Yeah, it really is. Kaz, you got a last question, bro?
Well, earlier we had talked about, maybe I misunderstood, but I thought that it seemed that 90% of the people don't believe the propaganda. Did I mishear that?
No, they do. They do believe.
They do believe.
Believe it. Okay.
Right.
All right.
See, hold on. Just to give you some context. One of the things that North Korea does not want South Koreans to see is like Korean movies, South Korean movies, and South Korean music. Those are like, do not do that. And why is that?
Because they, it's a movie and song. It's the same people who doesn't like it's really entertaining movie and song, right?
Especially BTS, Blackpink.
It's normal people, it's people's, but why because, we are same language, right? Especially. So people right away understand. All culture is the same. Everything what they saying is exactly same. And then even right now, new generation really learn so fast. It obviously why?
Yeah.
Because people easily to collapse the whole country because
Yeah.
they learn so
If
fast.
they learn about South Korea.
About the value, everything, right?
Yeah.
That's why.
And they tell the North Koreans tell them that South Korea is like very, very poor, and South Korea is like
South Korean
ridiculous.
movie.
Yeah, so if they see the movie, they're going to be like, "Oh, what the government's telling us is a total lie."
Total lie, something like it.
So they don't want them to know. Yeah.
You can see it's in even 1980s, early 1990s. Probably North Korean movie kind of makes sense because still they talking about our socialism is good, our socialist society is good, kind of makes sense. But right now, people still they already
Can't make
admit
sense.
we are poor.
Mhm.
we are poor. They
Yeah.
can against about the reality, but still we have to keep our socialist because why we are poor? Because America
It's
and
America.
South Korea continue to attack us. That's why we are poor.
Mhm. It's called scapegoating.
Yeah, invade us because they tried to invade us. That's why we are poor. Now, right now, is North Korea situation now. There is no more make sense.
Oh, so do you reject all forms of socialism and communism now entirely? Do you think that they're just bad ideas entirely?
Okay, socialism, communism. I don't say in the beginning, really beginning, socialism, communism is people thinking really ideal society, right?
Mhm.
I don't think it is a bad purpose in the beginning, but continue when they really develop the country, right? The society. But it turns out the kinds of society will be not successful, right?
No,
It's
definitely
obviously.
not.
Yeah. So now is the socialism is communism already finished. Even in North Korea, it's not anymore socialism. No.
No.
So I don't think in socialism and communism will be people continue to be believe to continue to kind of
Well,
Do you-
so hold on. I was telling her. I told you that Kim Jong Il had a collection of 25,000 DVDs, and so you remember Blockbuster, by the way, Kaz, a long time ago.
They're still good.
So those Blockbusters wouldn't even have 25,000 DVDs. So he would have had to have had a room bigger than a Blockbuster. It's like a
right. So
just totally filled with his movies. So he's someone who was using his resources for himself and the resources of the country for himself. So that's the number one bad thing about the socialism is that the people at the top, they're very rich and the people at the bottom are poor.
Even Kim Jong Il, when it is what is most worst thing is Kim Jong Il did when we were suffering in Konani Hengun is great famine in North Korea, right? And he built how many $80 million. $80 million he built the huge, like
Aryang Stadium?
No, what I mean is the Kumsusan 기념궁전. There is the tomb about the Kim Il Sung's dead body.
Right.
He spent so many $1,000 and spent on build that tomb for Kim Il Sung. That is when once I heard I was so shocked.
Right.
People die like flying. He built that kind of
Yeah, that his mausoleum you have to like take a train to it. There's a train and it's built into like a mountain.
Mm-mm.
Literally, they built this thing into a mountain, and then he's buried. Kim Il Sung, he's like buried with the Lincoln car, which is actually an American.
Number one.
No, in a car.
Oh, car.
It's a luxury, a Lincoln.
Car. And
So it's like the irony, because everything they say is anti-American, anti-this, and
That
Kim Jong Il loved America.
he loved all American, product, and even Kim Jong Un used, Apple computer.
Right.
It's so like
Dennis Rodman, you like Dennis Rodman?
And then Kim Jong Il is number one person in Bentley car.
Bentley.
Yeah,
Bentley.
It is a buyer.
And see,
Yeah.
that's the thing, because like if you talk to an American socialist, they're gonna say that the example of North Korea isn't what they are shooting for. That,
Right, of course.
that's not real socialism, because
Right.
it's a dictatorship. That it's
Yeah.
it's a fascism of some kind,
Yeah.
and that they want something else. They want a democracy.
Right, democracy.
They don't want the power to be concentrated like that.
Right.
They want the people to make the decisions. So, I
Yeah.
mean, I'm just wondering if you think that that's unrealistic, if you think that that's impossible, if you think that it's inherent.
Impossible is communist idea and socialism kind of ideal idea can became true. I can
You
say
think it could be
Mhm.
something that is okay, is good, if it's done right. If
Yeah, it
it's
is
not,
done.
Yeah.
okay.
All right. Well, do you have any last thoughts, Cass?
No, I think that's it. I asked everything I wanted to ask. I'm good to go for now.
You have any last thoughts you want to say? Can you tell
to-
us where we can find your website?
To you and Cass.
Cass.
Yeah, thank you so much.
I have to only say nice to meet you. I forgot. And
Yes.
then thank you so much inviting me. There is so many things I want to talk to you. And
Yeah,
then
we'll have more opportunity.
I found out, there's so many things we have to, exchange each other later. Maybe you have chance. And then
Oh, yeah.
I still have to know about outside. There's so many things I didn't know, but I'm still happy. And number one thing, what I done before, I just escaped North Korea.
Right. Can you tell me about your website? It's
www.crossingNK.com.
crossing.
NK.com.
Yeah, and
Yeah.
RIG podcast,
Yeah.
crossingNK.com, like that.
Yeah.
Okay, so we have we've made a donation there. We're going to make another donation, actually, and this lighting equipment right here, we're donating this to her. So we're going to continue to help you,
Thank
maybe
you.
some
Thank you.
intros and
Thank
some
you.
other stuff,
Yeah.
because this topic is one. I do want to say this. South Korea, like people are really against the dog eating market here. Are you familiar with that? Are you familiar with that?
I wouldn't say I'm familiar.
Well, no. Are you familiar with the fact that? Are you familiar with the fact that? No. That no. Hold it. No. Not okay. So, are you familiar with the fact that people come to South Korea and raid dog farms here, and they rescue the animals and they take them back to America? Are you aware of that?
No, I did not know that.
Yeah. So, yeah, they go there and they make videos of the dogs suffering, and I think that's just one of the saddest things, because
it is.
What's that?
Just-
wait a minute.
just just 100 miles north of here, we have humans who are in concentration camps, and people don't bat an eye, and I just think they're treated worse than dogs. If people treated dogs, or people treated dogs the way that they treat the North Korean people, there would be such outrage across the world. And so we really need to have more of we need to really be caring more about the North Korean people than about dogs, because dogs are great. I think they're great animals. I never had a dog until recently, so I understand why people love them so much, because I never owned one till like 3 years ago. But at the end of the day, it's like there's humans are suffering, and if people had the same kind of compassion towards people than they do the dogs and concern, I think this North Korean issue would be solved very quickly. So I do want to close out on that, and I do want to thank you for your time, Kaz. You had some great questions. I want to leave you this outro, and if you could stick around for 1 minute, here's our website, www.rhepodcast.com. Thank you for watching. Check us out at Instagram, Facebook, Twitter, Spotify, just about everywhere you can find someone, you can find us. We really appreciate you visiting us today. And if you're not subscribed, please be sure to do so. We want to leave you with this outro, and we definitely look forward to seeing you back again.